Hello everyone, good morning. Today in our tutorial video we're going to be talking about mathematics, and under mathematics we're going to be looking at the topic quadratic equation, which is one of the most vital topics in mathematics that you must understand. Quadratic equations. Now, the first thing you must know is the general form of a quadratic equation, which is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. This is the general form of a quadratic equation. What this general form is trying to tell you is that this is how a quadratic equation must always come. Like, this is how the all quadratic equation look like: ax squared plus bx plus c. And another thing you must understand is the method of solving quadratic equation. We are going to be looking at, generally we have four methods of a quadratic equation, of solving quadratic equation, and we are going to be applying only two methods in our class. So the first method, the method of quadratic equation. So the first method is what we call the factorization method, and we are going to be looking at this method today. Factorization method. The second one is called the completing the square method. I believe all this was taught in secondary school, completing the square, and this is where our quadratic formula was derived from. The third one is called the formula method, where we use what we call the almighty formula, the formula method. The last one is called the graphical method. This is where we are going to be using our graph to solve our question. Is that clear? So we are going to be looking at, in our class, we're going to be looking at factorization and formula method, because completing the square method is not that necessary. Graphical method also is not that necessary in the higher institution. So I'm going to be looking at the factorization method and the formula method, and we're going to go straight to the point, to our questions. So I'm going to be solving three questions for you guys under factorization method. Then for the formula method, I will just explain the formula and we are done. So please follow me as we proceed. So let's look at the factorization method. And I'm going to be giving us three questions. I'm going to be solving three questions for us to see. And the question says, you can write it down: solve each of the following quadratic equation by factorization method. Solve each of the following quadratic equation by factorization method. And these are the equation: root 3x squared. I don't want to give us simple questions so that we will not be lazy. So plus 10x plus 8 root 3 is equal to 0. Did you see how the quadratic equation is looking like? The second one is x squared minus 2ax plus a squared minus b squared is equals to 0. And the third question here is x squared plus, open brackets, ab all over c minus c all over ab, close the bracket, is equal to, x minus 1 is equal to 0. So this is our questions, and we're going to be solving these three questions now. So please follow me as we build. So these are the three questions given to us. You can write them down now as we so are we ready to solve? Are we ready? So in the next 5 minutes, I will love to explain. Now I'm going to be using example 1 to explain the method of or to explain how quadratic equation should be solved. I'm going to be using example 1 to explain generally any equation you see under quadratic equation, you must use this method. So are we ready to solve them? So let's go. So this is our question. Root 3x squared plus 10x plus 8 root 3 is equal to 0. Now, how do you solve a quadratic equation? How do you solve a quadratic equation? The first step you take in solving a quadratic equation is by multiplying the first term by the last term. You look at your question very well. If your question is correct, is in a correct order, the way I explain it in the general form, you will multiply the first term by the last term. And when we multiply root 3x squared times 8 root 3, we are going to be having root 3x squared times 8 root 3 is equal to 0. Now, root 3 times root 3, you know, according to sort, it will give us what? 3. And 1 times 8 is what? Is 8. Why? Because remember in sort they said the number times the number outside multiplying, while the root will multiply the root, and you know that when root 3 multiply root 3, it gives us root 9. And what is root 9? Is equal to 3. So 8 times 3 is equal to what? 24x squared. You bring down your x squared. Now, this is the first step you take. The second step you take is that you will have to look for two numbers such that when you multiply them, they give you this number, and when you add them together, they give you the middle term in all cases. As long as your question comes like this, you will what? Look for two numbers. After you multiply the first term and the last term, you will look for two numbers. They must be the same number. That when they must not, they must be the same number you used to multiply, the same number you used to add. So you look for two numbers that when you multiply them, they give you this number here plus the letter, and when you add them, they give you this number plus the sign. So what are those two numbers? Those two numbers will be what? 6x and 4x. Why? Because when you say 6x times 4x, it gives you 24x squared, and when you say 6x plus 4x, it gives you what? It gives you 10x. Do you see that our answers, our numbers are what? 6x and what? And 4x. So after we have gotten that, since we have known that our two numbers will be 6x and 4x, you will now substitute those two numbers by the middle term. Do you understand? You will substitute those two numbers by what? By the middle term. So you are going to be having root 3x squared plus, now you are not going to be writing 10x, instead you will write 6x plus 4x plus 8 root 3 is equal to what? 0. So this is how you will do it. So now you will now form a binomial. You will form a binomial like this. This is how your question will be. Then from here now, this is how your next step will be. So from here now, you can now what? Factorize. What it means by factorize, that means bringing out what is what? Common. So look at the first binomial we have here. We are going to be factorizing. When you want to factorize, or when you want to bring out what is common between root 3x squared and 6x, it will be what? The common will be what? Root 3x. Now when you bring out root 3x from root 3x squared, you are left with what? You are left with x plus. Now how do you now know what is common? How do you now factorize this number? Now remember, you are dividing. Do you understand? When you are bringing out what is common, if you want to know the remainder inside here, the one you put you what? You divide. So how do we divide? You will see 6x all over root 3x. Remember, x will cancel x. Now remember, in sort, one of the law of sort is that when you have division of when you have a sort fraction, your denominator must not have a root. So what do we do? You rationalize your sort. You multiply root 3, you multiply by root 3. This is how you rationalize sort. So 6 times root 3 will give you what? Will give you 6 root 3 all over. Root 3 times root 3 will give you what? 3. So 3 here will be 1, 3 here will be what? 2. So what will be left here will be what? 2 root 3. Are you following? Are you following? So this is what is left in the bracket. So you come back to this side, you bring out what is common. What is common here? We have 4. 4 is common here. So you will see, when you bring out what is common, it will be 4 cancel 4, you are left with x plus 4 into 8 will be what? Will be 2 root 3. Now, can you identify something that is unique here? What is unique here? You realize that what is in this first bracket is the same thing as what is in the next bracket. Now, in sort, in factorization, you must ensure that what is in this bracket must be exactly to what is in this what other bracket, so that you can pick one of them and solve. So after you have done that, you will now marry these two together. You combine these two together, you are going to be having root 3x plus 4, and you pick one of the bracket is equal to 0 rather. Remember, in factorization, the reason why you are seeing this square is telling you that normally in quadratic equation, the purpose of this square is telling you that x has what? 2 answers. So you are going to be equating this one by 0. So you pick one of these also. You are going to be having x is equal to x plus 2 root 3 is equal to 0. So what do you do now? You are going to be saying, remember you are looking for x, so this comes here, it becomes root 3x is equal to minus 4. Now you divide both sides by root 3, you divide both sides by root 3. So your answer now is minus 4 all over root 3, or you can now rationalize it. I believe I have taught you how to rationalize. You multiply both sides by root 3, then from there the answer will be minus 4 root 3 all over what? All over 3. That's for the first answer here, which is the first x. Then the second x here will be, when you take this one here, it becomes x is equal to what? Minus 2 root 3. So therefore we can say our answer is what? X is equal to the first one I said, it will be minus 4 root 3 all over 3, or it will be minus 2 root 3. This is our answer for the first example. Is that clear? So watch the next video for the remaining two, for the solution of the remaining two examples. Thank you.